Every single day, billions of people around the world rely on a system they rarely think about. A system that quietly moves food across oceans, through ports, along highways, and into supermarkets. A system so vast and complex that it connects farmers in rural fields to families living in cities thousands of miles away. For decades, this global food network has worked with remarkable efficiency. But recently, something has begun to change. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent. Fertilizer supplies are under pressure, major grain exporters are facing disruptions, and food prices in many parts of the world are beginning to rise. These developments have raised a serious question among economists and global analysts. Is the global food supply becoming more fragile? Because if it is, the consequences could affect billions of people. The modern global food system is one of the most complex supply chains ever created. Every year, enormous quantities of crops are harvested around the world. Wheat from the United States and Canada, rice from Southeast Asia, corn and soybeans from South America, sunflower oil and grains from the Black Sea region. These products are transported through a vast network of ports, railways, trucks, and cargo ships. Some travel thousands of miles before reaching consumers. This system works because different regions of the world specialize in producing certain crops. Countries with large, fertile lands export food. Others import it to feed growing populations. In many ways, global food security depends on the smooth operation of this international trade system. But when disruptions occur, the consequences can spread quickly. One of the biggest challenges facing global food production today is climate instability. Agriculture has always depended on predictable weather patterns, rainfall, growing seasons, temperature cycles. But in recent years, those patterns have become increasingly unpredictable. Severe droughts have affected major farming regions. Floods have damaged crops in several countries. Heat waves have reduced agricultural yields. These events are not isolated. They are occurring across multiple continents. For farmers, even a small shift in climate conditions can significantly affect harvests. Lower harvests mean less food entering the global market, and when supply decreases while demand continues rising, prices begin to climb. Another major factor influencing global food production is fertilizer. Modern agriculture relies heavily on fertilizers to maintain high crop yields. Without them, many farms would produce far smaller harvests. Fertilizers contain essential nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These nutrients help crops grow faster and stronger. But fertilizer production itself depends on energy and global supply chains. In recent years, several factors have disrupted fertilizer availability. Rising natural gas prices have made fertilizer production more expensive. Export restrictions from major producers have reduced global supply. Transportation challenges have slowed deliveries. For farmers, higher fertilizer costs create difficult decisions. Some may reduce fertilizer use to save money, but that can also reduce crop yields. And when yields fall across multiple regions, global food supplies can tighten. Grains are among the most important food commodities traded internationally. Wheat, corn, and rice feed billions of people every day. A relatively small number of countries produce large portions of these crops for global markets. For example, the Black Sea region has long been one of the world's most important grain export hubs. Countries in this region supply wheat and other grains to nations across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. When disruptions occur in major exporting regions, the effects can ripple across global markets. Importing nations suddenly face uncertainty about supply. Prices rise as buyers compete for available shipments, and countries that rely heavily on imported food can experience significant pressure. At the same time, demand for food continues to grow. The global population is increasing, urbanization is expanding, and dietary patterns in many countries are changing. As incomes rise in developing economies, people often consume more protein-rich foods, such as meat and dairy. Producing these foods requires large quantities of grain for animal feed. That means demand for crops continues to grow even faster than population numbers alone might suggest. Meeting this growing demand requires stable agricultural production and efficient global trade networks. But when multiple pressures affect supply at the same time, the system becomes more vulnerable. Food does not simply appear on supermarket shelves. It travels through complex transportation networks. Cargo ships carry grain across oceans. Railways move crops across continents. Ports handle enormous volumes of agricultural exports. These trade routes are critical to maintaining the balance between food-producing regions and food-importing nations. But disruptions in transportation can create sudden supply shortages, port congestion, shipping delays, rising freight costs. Even geopolitical tensions along major trade routes can slow or block shipments. When that happens, global food markets can become highly volatile. When food prices rise, the effects extend far beyond grocery stores. Food is one of the most basic human needs, and in many parts of the world, households spend a large portion of their income on food. Even small price increases can place significant pressure on family budgets. In wealthier countries, rising food costs may simply mean adjusting spending habits. But in lower income regions, the consequences can be much more severe. Higher food prices can increase poverty levels, governments may need to subsidize basic food supplies, and social tensions can rise if large portions of the population struggle to afford essential staples. History has shown that sudden food price spikes can contribute to economic instability and political unrest. The global food system is remarkably productive, but it is also tightly interconnected. That means disruptions in one part of the world can affect many others. A drought in a major wheat-producing region, export restrictions from a large supplier, rising fertilizer costs affecting farmers across multiple countries. When several of these pressures occur at the same time, the entire system becomes more fragile. Supply shortages begin to appear, prices start rising across global markets, and governments become increasingly concerned about food security. Some experts believe technology may help strengthen the global food system. Advances in agricultural science are improving crop resilience. New farming techniques are helping farmers adapt to changing weather patterns. Precision agriculture technologies allow farmers to use water and fertilizers more efficiently. Genetically improved crop varieties can withstand drought or pests more effectively. These innovations offer hope for increasing food production in the future. But technology alone cannot solve every challenge. Agriculture still depends on stable climate conditions, functioning supply chains, and international cooperation. The global food system is facing a period of uncertainty, climate pressures, fertilizer shortages, geopolitical tensions, rising demand. Each of these factors alone would present a challenge. Together, they create a complex risk environment. For now, global food supplies continue to move through the international system. Farmers are still planting and harvesting crops. Cargo ships are still transporting grain across oceans. But the margin for disruption may be shrinking. That is why economists, governments, and international organizations are watching these developments closely. Because food security is not just an agricultural issue. It is an economic issue, a political issue, and ultimately a humanitarian one. For most people, food appears effortlessly in stores and markets. But behind every loaf of bread or bowl of rice lies a vast global network of farmers, transport systems, and international trade routes. A network that must operate smoothly to feed billions of people. When that system faces pressure, the effects can spread quickly. And today, several warning signs are beginning to appear. The global food supply is not collapsing. But it is facing new challenges. Challenges that may shape the future of agriculture, trade, and global stability. Because in a world of nearly 8 billion people, ensuring a reliable food supply may be one of the most important challenges of the 21st century.